This analysis explores Bitcoin's technical outlook by examining the four-year market cycle, RSI divergences, and capital rotation between traditional markets and cryptocurrencies. It also highlights how emerging technical patterns in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP could influence the next major move in the crypto market while emphasizing the importance of objective analysis and disciplined risk management. Bitcoin may be sending its strongest warning yet, but almost nobody is looking where the signal actually appears. What if Bitcoin's next major move has already been revealed? Not by price, but by a signal that most traders completely ignore. That's exactly where Gareth Soloway believes the real opportunity begins. While many investors panic whenever the relative strength index climbs above 70 or falls below 30, that isn't a signal commanding attention. Those levels can persist for weeks, trapping traders on the wrong side of the market. Instead, the real story unfolds through RSI divergence. During Bitcoin's explosive 2024 rally, price continued climbing to fresh highs, creating the illusion that bulls remain firmly in control. But beneath the surface, the RSI was painting a completely different picture. Each new price high was matched by a weaker RSI high, quietly signaling that buy momentum was fading long before the market finally rolled over. Now the setup is changing once again. Bitcoin is showing signs of bullish divergence, where momentum begins strengthening even as price struggles. That subtle shift often appears before confidence returns to the market, making it one of the earliest clues that sellers may be losing control. The most compelling part isn't just the potential upside, it's the strategy behind it. With clearly defined risk levels and bullish divergence appearing across multiple time frames, Bitcoin could be approaching another pivotal moment that traders won't want to overlook. Do you believe Bitcoin's RSI divergence is signaling the next big rally, or is another correction coming? Share your prediction in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market insights.
RSI, we're going to flip on the RSI here. So when analyzing RSI, relative strength index, the only way I really care, I mean, listen, when you're this far oversold, and just a reminder, 30 or below is oversold, above 70 or above is considered overbought. But to be honest, I never trade off of overbought or oversold on RSI because things can remain overbought for long periods of time, oversold for long periods of time. You can get wrecked that way. What I do look at is divergences. And divergences here are fascinating. So a divergence would be where you have a lower low in the chart, but a higher low in the RSI. Is that price was going up this was the bull market run. So we had Bitcoin in 2024 March, then we had the high pivot in January, and then the high pivots in October, right? But look at the RSI, high, lower high, lower high. And what was that telling us? That negative divergence was telling us price was going to decline. And look at price. It absolutely declined. So again, these little divergences can be very midterm. I still think we're going down to 50 or below. But in the near term, things are so negative and we're seeing the positive divergences that we could be ready for a relief pop, maybe even as high as 70,000. Now from 60 to 70, that's a nice gain. The positive divergence here is key. But the key is, well, where does it fail? You don't want to see confirmation below this trend line. If you confirm a breakdown below this trend line, then you step away. And the beauty of that is, in terms of trading, is that you have a defined exit strategy with costing what, 3%? It's like, okay, wait, so I could lose 3, let's say even 5%. 5% on Bitcoin, but if it goes up to 70, I can make 15% or, 12 or 13, but whatever it is. The point is, it's the defined trade setup. All right, now, going back to the divergences, but wait, there's more. Look at your weekly. Your weekly, low pivot, positive divergence. All right, so you're starting to see positive divergences on all of the time frames, weekly, monthly, etc. All right, so that's a key factor here as well. Now, lastly, what I want to show you is even something more incredible. And we'll go to some other coins because, believe it or not, XRP has an incredible divergence.
What if the next massive Bitcoin rally has already started, but the first signal isn't coming from crypto at all? Stay until the end, because one surprising market connection could reveal where smart money is moving next. What if Bitcoin's next explosive rally has nothing to do with Bitcoin itself? And what if the biggest clue is hiding inside an entirely different market? Stay with us, because this connection could change the way you look at crypto forever. Bitcoin's next major move may not be driven solely by crypto headlines. Gareth Soloway points to an unexpected relationship between Bitcoin and semiconductor stocks, raising an intriguing question. What happens when money begins flowing out of one market and back into another? That possibility could become one of the biggest catalysts for the crypto market. The discussion begins with Bitcoin's famous 4-year cycle. Many traders abandon this framework the moment price moves against them. But history suggests that successful investors stay patient until a proven cycle is genuinely broken. Could this cycle still be playing out exactly as expected? The most fascinating concept is what Soloway calls the crocodile jaws. Bitcoin and semiconductor stocks once moved almost in sync, but recently they split apart as semiconductor companies surged. Now those stocks are showing signs of slowing down. Could that capital start rotating back into Bitcoin? The bullish picture doesn't stop there. Ethereum and XRP are also displaying technical patterns that often appear before major breakouts. If key resistance levels give way, momentum could accelerate rapidly across the crypto market. So, is Bitcoin preparing for its next big breakout? Or is this another false signal? Let everyone know your prediction in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more cryptocurrency market analysis.
Now, listen, it is the 4-year cycle. And, I still remember when I was talking about, guys, the 4-year last October, the 4-year cycle's coming up. Oh, but the 4-year cycle doesn't work. Like, as soon as it goes against people's thesis, then they throw it out the window. And I'm like, no, you got to let it, like, until it's proven otherwise, you have to trust it, even if it goes against your portfolio. And that's the way you actually make real wealth, is you can't have your head in the sand, right? So if we take a look here, and we overlay, so let's overlay the ShocKs, the semiconductors. I want to show you this, guys. All right, this is really intriguing to me. All right, so we're going to go to the daily chart and look at this divergence. Okay, so essentially look at how semis and Bitcoin were going together, and then all of a sudden the semiconductors went like this and Bitcoin went like this. In other words, they diverged. And my thesis is that money was coming out of Bitcoin because, let's be honest, when you see semiconductors going up 100, 200, 300% in a week or a couple months, I mean, that's like altcoins, right? That's altcoin season, but for semis. But the idea here is that the semis are now starting to turn down. All right. They are starting to turn down. You can see you now have a low, and we're right at that low, potentially making a lower low. We've made a high pivot up here. And the idea is that money over here was flowing up from Bitcoin and crypto into semiconductors, but inevitably this crocodile jaw, right? This is what we call crocodile jaws, where two things that usually track together diverge. Eventually that slams shut. So you would think that Bitcoin goes one way and we see semis come. In other words, money flow starts to flow back into Bitcoin and crypto. And listen, like I said, this is a thesis. Doesn't mean it's going to be correct. I'm sure plenty of people will disagree, and that's okay. Now we're going to go to altcoins, but take a look at ETH here. All right, if we look at ETH and we can draw this down, this should be down right there. Look at that. Perfect low pivot to low pivot. All right, now the trend lines are irrelevant for what I'm presenting to you. I'm looking at this divergence, right? We have divergences building. So again, you're now squeezing. Remember that we have wedge patterns. Price gets squeezed. And then depending on which way it goes, it breaks in a major way. So if it breaks down, yes, it's going to break down significantly. But if we have one of these where it breaks out, guess what? Big move up. I would still say you have a move back to at least 2,000 potentially if we can break out above this 1650 level on ETH. All right, now look at XRP. XRP is fascinating. And I actually really, when I saw this, I was like, holy cow. Low pivot, lower low, low on the RSI, much higher low, and long-term trend. Look at this trend. Look at this wedge pattern, squeezing price. If this can break out, you could be looking at a move of like 50% on XRP. All right. Now, listen, you may hate XRP. You may love XRP. I'll tell you my position on it. I couldn't care less. No, there's literally no coins out there, especially Bitcoin. I like it potentially as the digital gold, but altcoins,
Bitcoin's outlook now depends on more than price alone. Market cycles, capital rotation, momentum divergences, and intermarket relationships are beginning to align in ways that deserve close attention. While no technical pattern guarantees the next move, combining these signals creates a stronger framework for evaluating potential opportunities than relying on a single indicator. If capital continues rotating away from overheated sectors and back into digital assets, Bitcoin could regain leadership across the cryptocurrency market. At the same time, confirmation remains essential because failed breakouts can quickly invalidate even the strongest technical setups. The coming weeks may determine whether current divergences develop into a sustained bullish trend or simply fade as another short-lived signal. That makes discipline, patience, and risk management just as important as identifying the setup itself. So, could Bitcoin be preparing for its next defining move, or will the market surprise everyone once again? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more crypto market analysis. If you found this analysis valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market insights. Your support helps bring you the latest crypto analysis and market updates.